Alright, now let's move on to checks. Yeah, the checks in the mail. Yeah, I don't like those either. Anyway, a check is a draft drawn on a bank and payable on demand. Okay? This is like a draft. Well, it is a draft, but it's more specific draft. Several different types. A certified check is a check that's written by a bank and they stamp certified on it. That means the bank is saying, hey, those funds are there, it's good. A cashier's check is a check drawn by one bank. A cashier's check is a check drawn by a bank on its own funds. It's like a money order. You take your money in, your cash, you give it to the bank, and they write you a cashier's check. Okay? A bank draft, on the other hand, is a check drawn by one bank on another. So you have an account with Bank of America. Bank of America drafts you a check from their account that they have with SunTrust. Can they do this? Of course. Anybody can go into any bank and open up a checking account. It's no big deal. A voucher check. Check with a voucher attached. Hey, it's good. Traveler's checks, sold by banks and institutions. They require a signature and then a counter signature. You've seen these before. The American Express traveler's checks. You have a signature on there and then another signature on there to verify that you are the person you say you are. Post-dated check. This is a check drawn before its date. Alright? Sometimes you'll get these. You get a post-dated check. Don't cash this until X number of days later. Well, guess what? If you go and do it, 9 times out of 10, the bank will go ahead and cash it. Okay? Especially if you do it like to pay a utility bill or something, it's just going to go through the system because it's all animated now. Excuse me. Bad checks is check the drawee bank refuses to pay. So I write you a check, and SunTrust says, you know what, Childs is no good low rent. We're not going to honor that check. It's a bad check. Okay, so there's different types of checks. Duties of the bank. Alright, look at what they do. Duty to compare the signature on the depositor's check with the signature of the depositor in the bank's files to make certain the signatures on the check are valid. Okay, so when you go in and you cash a check or deposit a check, the bank teller has a little computer screen, and up there comes your signature. And they verify it. Refusal of bank to pay. Banks have to honor checks. They may even do so if it will overdraft your account if there's an agreement that the bank will pay the overdraft. You ever made a mistake in your math? Wrote a bad check, forgot to carry that one? Well, if you have the agreement with the bank that they'll go ahead and pay it, they'll just charge you a penalty, $35, $45, $50, whatever. A stale check is a check presented more than 6 months after its date. Alright? So you get a check at 6 months old, the bank might not honor it. Okay, it might have just been, discarded. Stop payment may be done orally or in writing. Okay? You want to stop a check from going through. You make a phone call. Hey, listen, this was a check I wrote. Don't honor it. Yada, yada, yada. It's done. Payment after depositor's death. Usually a check is ineffective after the drawee dies. However, until the bank knows of this and has a reasonable opportunity to act, the bank's agency is not revoked. So what does this mean? So you get a check from grandma for your birthday, $50. Unfortunately, she passes. Run to the bank. Yeah, run to the bank. Because the second that the bank finds out that grandma has passed, they're going to stop everything. Okay? That's just the nature of how the estate process works. Okay? So checks are pretty important. I think we've all dealt with them, but just make sure you know the differences between the various checks, drafts, and notes.